Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And today, my friends, yet another amazing guest on the show. We are going to be talking to the one, the only David Jones. You may know him. If you don't, he's somebody who has been big with Faceless content. He's going to be talking about building his channels with Faceless content. You can find training from him inside of our Learn, Launch, Lead Challenge as well. You can start that at legendarymarketer.com/enroll if you haven't yet. David spoke at our last mastermind. He was a real hit. People love to hear from him. He's been teaching more, and you can find him over on TikTok and Instagram. We'll start to share some of his links as well. But with that being said, former baseball player, online marketer, extraordinaire, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, David Jones. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? That was the worst possible time to ever have that happen. Right at the
beginning. This is the beauty of going live, right?
Right.
Do-overs.
Oh, man. Doing good. Life is beautiful.
Where are you calling in from? Remind us where you live.
I am in Utah. So we finally got some snow where I'm at. It's been pretty dry for the most of the winter, and finally got a little bit of snow. It was really light dusting, but it was enough.
There you go, man. There you go. We are going to be, having our mastermind. That's one thing I wanted to plug. Of course, you were at our last one. We're going to be invading Austin, Texas on January 31st. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Our last mastermind, we're, of course, on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Right. How was that for you, brother? I think I've had you on the show since then, but it just, reflect back, and what was that experience like for you? And what do you believe it was like for the people in the room?
Honestly, it was awesome. It was just nice, because as an entrepreneur, you really are alone for the better part of your journey. And you really don't get very many chances to connect, to listen to people, to hear their stories and where they came from and what they're doing, and just really understand, how they got there and how it kind of fits into your story as well. And just learning from other people was probably the biggest, mind-blowing, situation for me, because for the most part, I was always thinking that my problems were, I was the only one struggling with certain things, whether it be email or whether it be, something else, content creation. And just to see that other people are struggling with those same things too, and getting answers, and just being able to be a part of a community that means so much to everybody. It was just awesome. There's not really a way you can describe it other than, it's something that you have to experience. You know what I mean?
What was it like for you to speak on stage, man, and actually be up there? Was that nerve-wracking? Was that exhilarating? And how did you, and what did you think once you went home and were able to actually really, really think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this when we were there, but when before, like 24 hours before I was set to speak on the first day, and I think like 24 hours before, I didn't eat anything. I didn't even talk to my wife. I was just like tunnel vision, just trying to focus on what I had to do. But when I got up there, everything just kind of seemed to, quiet down. And it actually went really well, and I enjoyed it more than anything that I've done so far as, as a content creator, influencer, or in the online space or anything like that. And it's really kind of given me drive to want to do that more in my life. And that's part of the reason why I want to build freedom. I want to build, a life on my own terms, to have more opportunities to do that, share my thoughts and help others and grow. And it's kind of steered me towards my passion a little bit, which is being in front of a crowd, which is kind of scary to say, but I don't know. Now, when I look back and reflect on it, it's like maybe that's something that I want to pursue or pursue as a career in public speaking at some point in my life. So
That's interesting. Was that your first time? Was that the biggest crowd you'd ever spoken in front of before?
um so I mean I grew up speaking at church and things like that. So it was it's a little different though, because people are coming to you for knowledge,
Yeah.
whereas at church you're just talking and saying whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it was probably the biggest crowd I've spoken in front of. And that high and that feeling of just, I don't know, it was euphoric. I don't know exactly how to explain it. Most people attribute public speaking as close to like the fear of death or something like that. People hate it and they just don't like it, but for some reason it was nerve-wracking in the beginning, but when I got up there and started speaking, everything just kind of calmed down and slowed down a little bit. So
Totally, and it does. And isn't that a great analogy for how everything sort of works in this business? It all sort of slows down a little bit when you first come in. Everything seems fast. Everything seems like it's spinning out of
right.
control. You don't really know what is going to work, what isn't. Sort of like going up on stage and speaking, right? You have no idea like what's going to work for you, what you're going to like to do, what's not going to work. But you do it anyways. And we talk about that almost every day on this show.
Mhm.
So take us back a little bit. We of course always talk about you with faceless content. That's what you talked about at the mastermind. Look, I want to talk about this from the perspective of even 2025, what you're doing, what I'm doing, what people could and should be doing, like what their options are, so they're
Right.
clear. What is faceless content? Let's start there. And what's different about faceless content than other types of content? What are your options? If I was going to come on and I was going to do affiliate marketing, what is faceless content, and what would I sort of put that as a choice next to? Would it be building a personal brand? Talk about that from your perspective.
Yeah. So the way that I explain faceless content, it's more of a strategy to really, first one, get your foot in the door of content creation. A lot of people have apprehensions of getting on camera. So, it's a great way to kind of segue yourself into just starting to create content, putting some content out there and starting to learn the ins and the outs of the content creation world. And a lot of people who try to build a personal brand at first, they don't really understand how to create content, and then it just kind of it kind of backfires on them a little bit. And so they end up being in like 200 views and not getting any likes, and which is okay, because that's you got to start somewhere and you got to learn and you got to grow. But in my perspective, faceless content is a great way to get in, get results, get views, learn how to script a video, learn how to understand the little nuances of creating content, how to write hooks, the SEO of it all. You can pump out 4 videos. Like yesterday I sat down and I made 7 videos in less than an hour, and that's going to be my content for the week, because then I just repost them on different platforms and things like that. And it's just a good way to kind of segue or just ease yourself into content creation if you're a little apprehensive of putting your face on screen. Some people can't put their face on screen because of work, or they're afraid of what other people are going to think. And so it's a great way to just start learning and growing in the content world. And then once you've become a little bit more comfortable with creating content, then you can say, okay, well, I understand what makes a viral video because I've done it several times as a faceless content creator. I can take those skills that I learned there and apply it to my personal brand. And that's essentially what I did. You know, I was stuck creating content over and over and over again, saying the same things, and nothing was changing. And I was, you know, not making any progress, and I was sick of it and I was tired of it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a break from posting content with my face on it. And I'm just going to learn a skill, because I see people over here making these faceless videos that seemingly seem pretty easy to make. I just need to figure out how to do it. And so I just went through and I did a ton of research on different, you know, different niches, different channels, different styles. And I was like, you know, I'm just going to try to emulate what they do in my own way, and see what happens. And so I just started posting. And then, you know, essentially I had my first faceless channel blow up to, I think, 250,000 followers in roughly 30 days. And I was like, wow, that was insane. And I was just utilizing the principles that I had learned during my research. And then after some time, I was like, you know, I think I can take this skill and teach other people how to do it on social media, because I've learned how to create, you know, scripts. I've learned how to write hooks, how to capture people's attention. Maybe I can use it for my personal brand. And so I took the skills that I learned from faceless content and applied it to my personal brand, and was able to grow that channel to about, I think, 30,000 followers in 30 days using the same principles. And over the past year, in 2024, I did over 1 million followers between all of my platforms on TikTok. And then recently I just started a few months ago on Instagram, and I've grown my faceless Instagram to over 70,000 followers, utilizing the same principles. But the point of faceless content is to be fast, easy, and effective. If it's taking you 2-3 hours to make a faceless video, there's no point in doing that, because you can just put your face on camera. You know, it's something that you can just plug and play and let the views roll in and start getting, you know, eyeballs on your profile. And really the point of it is, you know, the biggest reason why people don't ever make any money online is because they can't generate enough attention. You know, money goes where attention flows, or however the saying goes, you know what I mean? And so if you can get attention online, you will make money, whether it's through views, whether it's through, you know, affiliate products, whether it's through this. But that's the biggest hurdle that people face. And with faceless content, getting attention, in my opinion, is a lot easier starting out. And then it's just a lot easier because, you know, you can say what you want with faceless content. You can really do what you want because it's not tied to anything but a brand.
Yeah. Look, it's you see it every day. I mean, this is not a new concept, people. I mean, faceless content is the same as a company kind of hiring spokespeople and having a marketing agency create a commercial for them. You know, most companies don't have the CEO of their company in all their videos. You know, it's only been in the last 10 years that it's been interesting for regular people to make content. And now, well, oh shit, okay, I got all this attention, might as well create a corporation and start selling something with it. That's why when you see somebody go viral, like, I don't know who went viral this year, Haktua, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing is go run and get a t-shirt made and start selling because I got some attention, let me sell something to them. And you're right. It's always been the problem is traffic, attention, right? It's the ability, but you're right even about attention, because most platforms you can turn monetization on your videos and get paid even if everybody hates you. But if they're watching your videos a lot, you can get paid from those videos. That is how the early YouTubers, and still how many YouTubers to this day, make their money. is they make it with I think it's called AdSense, and you
Mhm.
get a portion of the advertising dollars. It's
Right.
not ever been something that I've ever taught or even done, because I've always been fascinated with the idea of making a lot of money from a smaller audience if you
Right.
properly monetize it, if you
Right.
properly sell something to that audience and then get them into a sales process on the back end off of the social media platform. You have an opportunity to be able to nurture a relationship with that customer and have a relationship where they buy stuff from you over many, many years. But you're right, it all starts with attention. And so back to, these options, and everybody has this sort of option, and you can do both. This is the thing that I want everybody to realize, is you don't have to pick. You
Mhm.
can do both. It's sort of like when I go out fishing, I don't go out off 20, 30 miles offshore and say, all right, what's the one pole I'm going to set, throw down in there with one piece of bait? No, you
Right.
can bet your bottom dollar I got 6 poles with me, and
Right.
I got one on every corner, right? Because I
Exactly.
just want to maximize my opportunities to get a bite. And that's sort of what happened with you. Ultimately, you just did them in reverse. You built your
Mhm.
Faceless channel, this guard your mind, guardian of minds, which
Mhm.
we've got that link up here on TikTok. You guys can find him on TikTok at guardian_of_minds. That's his fit. You've always been so transparent about that. I really appreciate it. You
Mhm.
just share your work, and that doesn't stop you from continuing to grow the profile,
Yeah.
which is cool. Then, as that profile began to get traction, you started to plug your personal profile on TikTok, Dave_preneur, right?
Mhm.
And those Faceless channels began to feed your personal brand. And now you're building them both kind of in parallel
Yeah.
amongst any other Faceless channels that you may have. And that's just the capturing attention part of your business,
Right.
right?
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and it's kind of a crazy thing because I really I had no I had really no idea what type of um, what type of impact this would make. It was just something that I decided, what? I was sick of getting 200 views, and I was like, I'm just going to try something new. I'm going to learn a new skill.
Yeah.
And then, I just built off of the skills that I learned with Legendary, building a lead magnet, building out a sales funnel, driving people. I had no idea what I was doing for the better part of, 2024. I was just kind of going with the flow and like just implementing things here and there. Where I saw fit. And, maybe I made some mistakes. Maybe I did some things right. But it ultimately led to,
Mm.
where we are today, where I'm fully
Yeah.
employed by myself. And
Yeah. The
it's,
net is good.
yeah, yeah, it's been great. And so that's something that, one of the things that we need to do as new entrepreneurs and online marketers, just get out of your own way and just do it, stop being afraid. Oftentimes now for me, it's like, how do I go to the next level? It's there's a constant battle with wanting to perform. And so it's okay, I did this amount in 2024. How do I 10x that? How do I make my net even bigger? And how do I you know double down on this Faceless thing and things like that? So you're constantly reevaluating your formula. You're learning and growing, and it's been an opportunity of a lifetime for sure.
I want everybody to be real clear about what David did. David started the challenge. I don't know, what do you remember exactly what
In
month?
2023, I believe it was in 2023 of March.
All right. So, in I don't think you knew anything about online marketing, like invested in our training, like started to learn the blueprints and the ropes of this whole thing. Whether you were full time back then, I don't know, right?
No, back then I was working full time,
Yeah,
and then doing this on the side.
And after, you know, creating videos on his own, in his own name, on his own profile, whether it was the Davepreneur or not, it was all personal. It was, your face was in every one of them. And instead of, and now 200 views, it's nothing to shake a stick at, but it gets old after a while, right? And so you're like, God, this sucks. This is getting old. I'm running into a roadblock. This is where most people quit. This is where most people get a big old shiny object that just, and they're like, that's my savior, my new thing. I can start something new, you know,
Right.
because it's the business that's, or, you know, I need to go in the direction that I'm going is not correct. But instead you said, no, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm simply going to create a new social media profile, which, friends, is free to do. You know, if it's sort of like, you know, I don't know, taking some steam out somewhere in a real healthy way, right? It's like you're really angry, so instead of going and punching a hole in the wall anymore, you go on a walk, right? It's like that. It's free. You do no damage. You could be really burnt out, frustrated with your business. You're not getting views, and here's something you can do. Instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater or going and rolling in some new thing and saying, oh, this is going to be my new savior, you just go open a new social media profile and say, I'm going to test some new marketing.
Boom.
Actually test some. I'm not going to quit the business. I'm actually going to test a new approach. And that's what you did. You said, hey, I'm going to test with a new, from scratch, a completely new approach of gaining attention to see if this bait that I throw down gets any bites. And that's it. You didn't put all that, you didn't throw a piece of bait down, sit there for a little while, and then pick everything up and go back in 20 miles. Because, friends, remember, you got something invested in this too. Just like a trip offshore, you wouldn't want to drive 20 miles in the waves to then turn around after 5 minutes. Neither did you. And so it's like, okay, you put a different piece of bait on, which was these faceless videos that didn't have your face in them, on a new profile. And what happened?
A business was born.
A business was born. I know what happened. You were sitting there and you had a metaphorical big and hit. It was like right. A fishing trip can change that fast, can it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's a dead day, and then all of a sudden you're just sitting there. It just, oh my God! Right. I feel like a business can change that fast too.
It is. It's true. It's crazy how fast things just, you know, especially in the content creation world, how fast your life can really change and take a turn, and for the better. You know, I was just creating faceless content, and then I decided, you know what, I'll teach people how to do this for free. And then little did I know that it would just completely blow up, and, you know, people would be wanting me to help them. And you know, it was just insane. So, and it really only takes one idea like that, and just continuing to try out new ideas. And that's why it's so important that you just never give up. You just always push through regardless. And I think I mentioned last time, or, you know, when we spoke last, that I did, you know, that year that I found Legendary Marketer, I did what's called 75 hard, where you know, focus on, you know, it's like a mind, body, soul challenge for 75 days. No water, no alcohol, or no water, no alcohol. No, you got to stick to a diet, exercise.
Water, a gallon of water.
Yeah, a gallon of water. Work out twice a day for 45 minutes. One of them has to be outside. You got to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, and some other things. But I did that, and my mindset was clear, disciplined, and I was dead set on succeeding. It didn't matter what it was. I knew I was going to succeed at something. And so I just kept pushing through. And so this year I'm actually doing 75 hard again right now because I want to lock myself in. And I know in order to get to where I want to go, I need to do something hard and push myself to get to where I want to go. And the only way that I know how to do that is by making myself disciplined in specific areas. And so that's my area of focus. And if that's something that, you struggle with is, being disciplined in, whether it's sitting down and creating your sales funnel, or sitting down and creating a lead magnet, or sitting down and actually just making the content, and prioritizing doing that instead of watching TV or scrolling on your phone, the changes that it will make in your life is a lot more beneficial if you just have that discipline and that mindset of. I remember when I first started Legendary, I used to listen. I would go for my runs during 75 hour, and I used to listen to your Millionaire Mindset or whatever it was on the podcast. I used to listen to it every day, and it's something that just always resonates with me. And one of the things is that you said, it was like entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and if you want to succeed, you have to really want it. You have to do the things necessary to get to where you want to go. It's not going to just be handed to you, and it's certainly not. And if you want it, you have to take it. And so it's kind of crazy, but
it's a lot like baseball, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is.
I was
definitely
just in a manager's meeting last night for my son's t-ball team, and just hearing the parents, hearing the president of this league. It's a pretty good league. It's like a Cal Ripken league or something, and it's a pretty good league. He's a pretty good president. I heard I coached, and this will be my second year managing a team and just kind of getting back into that competitive, I don't know. They were real direct. I appreciated his competitive spirit, the president of the league, as he was kind of briefing all of us managers, and just, it is winning is important. It's the most important thing in sports. And a lot of people consider business a sport,
right?
Because even in football, if you watch a football game, guys put their head down and go. Dudes get knocked out. Dudes are trying to knock guys' heads off. They can't actually do that now because there's so many rules in the NFL, but it's no mercy. But then at the end of the game, it's like all love. And business is the same way. And, it's about being competitive, and it's about understanding that there really isn't any participation trophies. And I think that, you're right. Discipline is important if you're going to win, because you do need an edge. You do need to be disciplined in certain ways. And if you can become disciplined with your health, which is something that so many people struggle with, I think all of us do, because it's just a challenge. We got so much processed foods and stuff around us. It's hard not to eat this shit. But, business, you go on, you give it your all. You try to win. You try to take food off of other people's tables, is what that's what you're trying to do. You don't want anybody to starve, but you're trying to take market share. You're trying to, you're leaving bodies in a way. You're trying to knock people out. You don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right.
You don't want anybody to get hurt, but you're trying to win. And that competitive spirit and that discipline that it takes to win has been lost in society. But there's not enough people talking about it on the internet. Right. Everybody's making entrepreneurship seem easy, and then everybody gets in and they quit so early in the game, way before any sort of miracle happens. And so yeah, man, this is not for everybody. And it's hard to tell somebody that it's not for everybody. You don't want to be that jerk.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the jerk that tells. So, ultimately you believe in people until they believe in themselves. And that's your job. That's my job. I know that's your job as a coach.
Right.
There's never, if a coach ever on your baseball league, you never saw him, even to the shittiest player, say, you shouldn't play baseball anymore.
Right.
You say, attaboy, nice hustle. The son of a bitch hustles. He sucks, but he hustles.
Sometimes
We
that's all
love
you
him.
need.
We
Yeah.
love him. Whatever, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need more heart than talent. But so it's like, for all of you listening, yeah, the discipline is important. Understanding this is not going to be easy is important, and just get in that long-term mentality instead of that short-term pie in the sky bullshit. I'm going to hit, just get in the mode that this is going to be a journey,
Yeah.
and play it year by year instead of week by week. Get out of that paycheck to paycheck mindset. And I think that's a lot what it boils down to. You got to get into a long-term mindset and out of that short-term paycheck to paycheck mindset.
Exactly. And it's all about having the adventure. It's an adventure, and that's what humans crave so much. And that's why this, the freedom that everybody's looking for. And that's what you want, is you want the adventure, you want the risk, you want the, you want to have your cake and eat it too. And that's okay. You can have those wants. And I always hear people say, some of the big gurus, motivation gurus, things like that, they always talk about like how easy it is. Like, it's hard to be an entrepreneur, but it's also easy because there's so many people who are not willing to do what is necessary. And if you can just be that person who's willing to do what is necessary, you can succeed. And I think that's where a lot of these people online get the fact that, or say that it's entrepreneurship is easy, is because, they were able to discipline themselves and focus on the things that they need to do, in order to get it done, and just do it. And that's a lot of the things that held me back, was just doing it and not being afraid, and just putting myself out there and being willing to risk, people talking crap about me, or not liking what I have to say, and just kind of pushing past that. Because in reality, when I look at my comments, everybody's like, thank you so much for the help. Thank you so much for the help. But when I post the content, I'm like, oh, this is kind of controversial. I don't know what's going to happen. And then you go to the comments, and then everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And so it's in those moments when you just think like, I'm doing something wrong, when in reality, you just keep pushing through it. And you'll see the fruits of it afterwards. But
Yeah. No, I like the piece about it. It really is actually easier to succeed than you think. And half of the battle is actually showing up consistently for a period of time, for a long period of time. Let me put it that way.
yeah,
Not a short period of time. Half the battle is showing up consistently for a long period of time. Everything you put out is not going to work. Everything you put out is not going to be the biggest hit. You're not going to get to do your favorite thing every day of every week of every month. You're not going to get to go on your favorite vacation right away. You're not going to get all your favorite stuff right away. You're not going to get your favorite thing. I got to say this to my 4-year-old. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I know it's not your favorite thing, man, but it's still dinner.
Right.
What's for dinner?
Exactly.
I say it nicer than that. I try to get fired up right. I'm saying all you people, you're adults. You can take the tough love. You don't get your favorite thing because you actually, as the business owner, are going to make sure that everybody else is taken care of first.
Yep.
That's what you're now going to do. You're going to stop worrying about yourself and what you need and living paycheck to paycheck and all these sort of fear-based thoughts that you've had for so long that you're now used to. It's just how you think. And you're going to start thinking about, how can I solve problems? How can I help people? not even thinking about money, especially if in your first month or two, focus on audience building. That was the biggest thing that I took away. And I hope you all did from listening to Dave. It's like nothing happens until you have an audience, right? I mean, even public speaking, right, dude? It's like you can have the best speech in the world, but if it's an empty room, it's an empty room.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing about online is at least usually we get people in the room. It's much
Right.
easier to start there and then start doing public speaking after. But the point here is that, you know, this is a commitment. And when you put in the work, you put in the discipline, you think about it long term, and you get out of a paycheck to paycheck mentality and start thinking about how can I serve people first, the world in front of you changes. Also, just recapping the one other huge takeaway, which is when you run into a brick wall, it's not a dead end. It's just it's just the end of that path.
Right.
And you can also build a brick wall and say, I'm done. I'm not going to keep going down this and just go, oh, nothing's happening. I'm going to do the same thing expecting a different result. You have to pivot. And that's what I love so much about your story is that you learn the skills, you learn the foundation, you learn the fundamentals, you got things going, weren't getting the results that you want and tested something new. And then that fed back into what you were originally doing, which was building your personal brand. And it all worked out in the end. And it was just because instead of stopping, you just sidestepped and continued walking forward.
Right. And a lot of it too is like, I hear a lot of people saying like affiliate marketing doesn't work anymore. Digital marketing doesn't work anymore, all this stuff. And I kind of had those things popping up into my mind as well, but I just wasn't looking at it in the right light. I wasn't understanding what it meant. And so once I started having success with Faceless content, and I was starting to sell digital products and I was starting to sell affiliate products, I'm like, hold on, affiliate marketing does work. I just didn't have the right knowledge yet. I just didn't understand what it meant, and what it actually meant to provide value. You talk about, fishing in the waters, finding the perfect fish, understanding who your audience is, understanding what they want. What do they want to see online? Like the different nuances of that audience and how to really help them get to where they want to go. And once I understood that, then everything just kind of clicked. It's like, oh, now it makes sense. It's not about me. It's about everyone else. How can I help you get to where you want to go? And that's all business is. And that's all business is. Businesses grow because they found a way to help other people, whether it's one person. If you help one person, you make a little bit of money. If you use that platform to help thousands of people, you make a lot of money. And that's essentially what you're trying to do as a business, is try to find a solution that it helps people get a result that they want to have, whether it's, lose 10 pounds, whether it's make their first $1,000 online, whether it's, learn how to play baseball, whatever it is that you're good at or want to do. There's an audience out there that has a desired goal that they don't know how to get to because they don't have the right knowledge. But you, as the affiliate marketer or digital marketer, have that knowledge. And if you can package it in a video format or in a faceless video or whatever it is that you're going to be creating and share it with that audience that will find it helpful, they'll eat it up because they're like, oh, this is the answer I've been waiting for. And this is the problem I've been having. So thank you so much. And when you provide that much value to somebody who is going through a certain time or looking for a solution, that's when they decide, you know what? I like their content. I'm going to follow this person because they helped me. And that's basically the basis of how I grew my personal brand from 0 to 200,000 followers, basically in 2024, was how can I provide as much value to somebody today, even if it doesn't get 1 million views? I just want to help one person And so I would go to my comments, see somebody needs an audit on their page, or I see somebody has a question about Faceless content, and I want to answer that for them. But I'm going to do it in a way that answers it for multiple people. And so, not every single one of my videos gets 100,000, 200,000, million views. For the most part, my videos are from, 3,000 to 10,000 views, and every once in a while you have a video do 500, 600,000, a million views. And that's where a lot of people get mistaken, is they start creating content and then they, think that every video has to go viral. No, you just need one video to go viral to build a following. And then the rest you use to support the rest you use the content to support your followers and answer questions and continue to build your brand further. And so that's mainly my strategy is how can I provide as much value as possible, with the knowledge that I have and the expertise that I have. I'm not going to try to be someone I'm not. I'm just going to be who I am and help people as much as possible. So
yeah. Well, you've kind of followed the blueprint of doing affiliate marketing, selling courses, coaching. I mean, I know you've got your own community, you're teaching Faceless content, you're creating mini courses, and you're doing a lot of things. You're really kind of, you're exhausting and exercising all of the different options that somebody has, and you're doing that all within a year and a half. It's a year and a half, 2 years. I mean, really, I'd say 1 year of significant, like, consistent action and 1 year of kind of getting ready to get ready. You know what I mean? That's almost kind of how I consider your story and journey so far. So, I mean, what's the takeaway from that? It's like, I had a guest on yesterday, and like one of the big takeaways was like, just start, like, don't have a big lull if you can help it, because it's such a common thing that people will buy the course or get started and then drop it and then come back for some reason. And a lot don't come back. That's the majority. I would say don't come back. The majority of us buy stuff and then don't come back to it. I think that's a lot of the tendency. You see books that sold, millions and millions of copies. I wonder how many people actually read the book,
Probably.
I know our tendency is to not finish things, and I've seen that play out in the data of people buying courses and finishing them and even opening them and logging in.
Right.
So many just practical yet powerful takeaways from your story, and obviously so much more we can continue to learn. And that's why I'm so grateful every time you come on, man. For now, let's leave it there. And for everybody listening, so many golden nuggets. You can continue to learn from Dave over on TikTok at Davepreneur. He's got a community. He's selling Faceless training and training people on how to do his strategies. Of course, he also teaches inside of, was a student first, and then came back and was featured in both at a mastermind and now also in our new challenge. And so you can learn from him and hear about more of his strategies there and learn more about Faceless content there. No matter where you go, do it all. I recommend learn as much as you can. This is a never ending. I was listening to somebody yesterday talk about investing a certain amount, at least 5 or 10% of your income in the first few years of your business back into upgrading your own intelligence.
Right.
Just, especially in those formative years, right? Of like 1 through 7 in your entrepreneur career. It's like the more that you can grow, the better. So these are places you can find Dave, continue to learn from Dave. And thanks for being a part of our community, brother, and sticking around and coming back and giving back. It's always appreciated. And stay legendary. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dave.
All right, brother.
Bye.
All right, my friends. Once again, Dave_preneur is where you can find Dave's personal page over on TikTok, Dave_preneur. And he's gracious enough to share transparently his TikTok and Instagram at least one of his Faceless pages, Guardian_of_minds is his nearly 1 million follower TikTok account. And then his recently started guard.your.mind on Instagram. Great guy to learn from, follow, be associated with, and we're proud of what he's done and what he's accomplished. And this guy's a winner, anyways. We didn't turn this guy into a winner; he was already a winner. He just came and went through the training and actually used it and applied it. And even with his baseball, which we didn't even talk about that, but I have talked about it with him in previous episodes. Even with all of that training, he's still lollygagged by his own admission, right? So it's like we all have that potential to avoid or procrastinate, and then it's like you break through, you have that moment. And he talked about his today, and it was just like, you know what? I'm not going to give in. I'm better than this, and I want to do something bigger than what I've done before. I want to do something different. And he gave you some great examples of ways that he holds himself accountable. For example, with the 75 hard, that's a tough one. But that's the level that he wants to kind of strive for. So high standards, you can be as hard on yourself as you want. You're an adult, that's pressure creates diamonds. And that's what has come from this dude's business is some damn diamonds here over the course of just 2 years in business and really 1 full year of massive action. So congrats to him. Hope you guys can make it to a mastermind, because cool people like Dave come and speak at the mastermind. He was at our one in Louisiana earlier 6 months ago. This time, he's not going to be able to make it, unfortunately. Sad face. He'll be back, but we have amazing speakers in Austin, Texas, and it's going to be an amazing group at this mastermind. So grab a ticket if you can. legendarymarketer.com/enroll. We'll see you guys there. We'll see you guys back here again tomorrow for another episode. As always, get out of here. Have a great day. Be legendary. Appreciate you all. Peace.